Hey, I'm Neill with Mossy Oak. People have different ways of breaking down turkeys, so I'm just going to show you my method of breaking down from the feet, the fan, the beard, and the breast. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and cut the feet off. Some people like to, there's a joint right here and you can cut around and it works just fine. I kind of do it backwards. So I take the leg and I break it first, and once I break it like that, you can kind of see where those joints separate. You just kind of cut around it, and do the same with the other one. That's a pretty quick way to get your feet cut off. And then the beard is really it's the easiest part by far. But so basically, I just come back just a little bit right here, and I just cut right, right where the skin meets the beard, and you just cut it right off. It's easy as that. So now we got the beard and the feet cut off. So now we're going to cut the fan off. The fan is a little more tedious. You kind of got to dig behind all these feathers, and you can feel right here where the bottom of the fan feathers are, and take your knife, and you want to basically take your knife and go right down his backbone. And the slower you go with this, you can kind of see that skin attaches to the backbone. If you just cut it right here, you're going to lose a lot of these secondary feathers. So if you want the fan to look better, if you're doing it for some kind of wall mount, you want to try to cut down and get as many back feathers as you can down through there. So you can see right here where this fan feathers stop. You just kind of slowly cut down through here, and then you can kind of start to feel where that meets the backbone. You just take it real slow. If you get in a hurry, you might mess it up. So just cut it real nice and easy, right down that backbone. Kind of see that's starting to tear apart, so that's enough there. And that way you've got your secondary feathers on that fan as well. So next we're going to breast them out. If you pull his feathers back right here on this breastbone, you can see it's clear as day, this big breastbone here. You just make a small incision right on that breastbone, and you can kind of peel the skin back from here, and you don't have to pluck a single feather off the turkey. You really don't even need your knife at this point. Once you make that incision, you can just put your thumbs in here and you just split that open. You just kind of peel it back, until you can see the entire breast. Just keep peeling it back, keep peeling it back. See, we have a nice clean breast to work with here. And sometimes I like to just cut right here to get it all the way down. And if you cut this skin that's kind of attached to this breast skin, kind of attaches to the leg, I like to kind of cut that as well, just to kind of reckon. And then you can take this leg and just to kind of spread them out a little bit to give you more room in the breast. You can kind of break it open, that ball joint is. You can kind of fold these sideways, and now you have all the room in the world to work with to cut your breast open. So what you want to do with these is you're going to cut, there's two sides of the breast. It doesn't really matter which side you start on, but you just want to make sure and start right on that breastbone. You want to cut against it, and you want to get as much of that meat as possible. So just really be careful and cut right down that bone. I like to start at the back of the breast, and you just kind of slowly fillet it off of that breastbone. Make sure you go right down that bone, get as much meat as possible. So you just kind of cut right around the front of his breastbone right here. You kind of see right here, there is where there's a kind of a line that goes through here, and that's what splits them. So you just kind of cut around this, hug that bone until you get to about right here, and then you just kind of cut straight down that line. And that's half a breast there. So there, when you cut it open, you'll see that there's a piece, kind of like a little inner one piece here, that's separate from the main part of the breast. So yeah, you just keep filleting this back. And you can see right here where this skin meets the breast, and you just kind of slice right down that. So you can kind of just pull this apart. You know, you kind of use your knife. Sometimes you can just pull stuff apart, but the skin right here that's attached to the breast, you just kind of pull it down like this, and just kind of get all the way down where that breast meets down here. And really from here, you just kind of keep filleting it back like this. Keep going down that bone, and just make sure you get as much meat as possible. And just keep filleting, and then eventually you'll get to a point where you're almost done, and then you just keep cutting, and finally it'll come loose. And at this point, I think I've cut it loose now. So you just kind of pull those feathers back and just pull any empty skin, and there you go. You've got your inner piece here, and then you've got your full half breast here. So you've got your full half breast here, and then your inner piece here, and so that's half the breast. So we're just going to go down and do the same thing on this side. Make your incision right down the bone. Come back up through here and just go straight at the bone here. Just make sure you hug real tight and kind of circle around the front of this bone here. And you can see right there, you just kind of cut it off, and so that's kind of cut your other half off the bone. So now just do the same thing and kind of peel the skin back a little bit. Just make sure I don't pull any meat with it. Alright, so now we've got this part of the breast, this half of the breast kind of sliced off the bone. Finish it up here, and then we're gonna just take this one and so if you take this breast, you can see there's this inner piece here. There's kind of a trick to taking that tendon out. You can do it later in the kitchen. It's a little more time consuming once you've sliced the whole thing off the turkey, but if you just cut it kind of bone its own right here and go from the back forward, and you just move and kind of separate that from the breast here. You can just kind of work your way with your thumbs. You can reach up in here, just kind of, and you can see this tendon right here. You reach all the way up to the base of this tendon where it meets, which I've almost got there. Right there, you just take your fingers and you just squeeze really tight, and you pull back, and you can slide that piece of meat right off that tendon. That way you don't have to do it later. So you've got all the meat slides perfectly off that tendon, and you don't have to worry about cutting it out later. I'm going to set this here. And so now you've just got half a breast left. Slice off and you'll be done. You just take it and just kind of work your way around those bones, making sure you get as much meat as possible. Kind of work your way forward. I'm a big fan of turkey nuggets, so I try to make sure I can get every last piece of meat. Sometimes you might have a little scrap like that, got it in the pile. But I like to make sure I can get every last piece of meat, because even if you say a piece like this, that may be 3 turkey nuggets, so you don't want to let it go to waste. So just keep cutting. So here you can kind of grab the whole breast in your hand, and you're kind of on the finish line here. You just kind of keep cutting around this bone. Keep slicing through here, and you can just kind of see where it's pretty self-explanatory once you start cutting through here, and you're just trying to separate the meat from everything else. And then you just kind of cut around here, one last little slice, and there you go. You've got 2 perfectly good halves of turkey breast. So now you've got your feet, your beard, your fan, and all the breast meat here. You can see You know, I've done this as clean as possible, clean as I can possibly do anyway. And so a lot of people, they'll stop right there. A lot of times, you know, I've done that as well. But if there is a lot of really good ways that you can cook the turkey legs, you can look online. There's a lot of different recipes online on how to cook wild turkey legs, and they're very, very good. Most people throw them away, but if you do want to take a little extra time, it takes 0 time to cut them off, and it just gives you a little bit more meat in the freezer. So you'll take your knife and you'll just cut. You can kind of see right here where the leg runs up into here. You just kind of take your knife and peel the skin back. Just kind of keep coming down until you get that skin all the way off. So you just kind of keep removing all the skin around the leg. You kind of get it all the way down. You just kind of rip it off right here. There's a few feathers right there, but that's something you can kind of clean up later. Just kind of pull the skin all the way back where you have a clean, full leg, thigh, all that right here. So once you've kind of got this leg cleaned up, you can see all the clean meat here. You just basically right here where this leg runs up, there's a ball joint right here that I've already popped open. And it really, when it's right here, you fold it back and it pops right open, and you can feel it with your finger right here. And if you just take your knife and cut right along where that leg meets the body, it just slices it just right off. It's super easy to do, and takes no time, and adds just a little bit more meat to your freezer. So you've got one leg here, and you're just going to do the other one same way. So that's it, and you know, next time you go out and get a turkey in the woods, hopefully this is helpful on breaking down your next turkey.